Hello everyone, my name is Zachary Brown, and today I'm going to go over my Geography in My Backyard report. There were plenty of locations to choose from in San Antonio, but I decided to go with the Heritage Duck Pond Park located at 900 South Elson Drive in West San Antonio. As you can see from the Google Earth pictures, Heritage Pond is only about 4 miles away from our Northwest Vista College campus. I live about 5 minutes from here and have visited the park plenty of times to play basketball with my friends and even feed the ducks with my baby niece. During my presentation, I'm going to focus on weathering and erosion, specifically mechanical and biological weathering and water and wind erosion. So let's get started. This is a picture of me during both my visits to Duck Pond for this assignment. Both days had great weather, but my second visit was after we had significant rainfall during the week, and I felt that the lake was visibly higher than on my first visit on my left. So let's go to my next slide and start with weathering. Weathering is the process where large rocks are dissolved or worn away into smaller and smaller pieces due to environmental factors. One type of weathering is mechanical weathering. This is when the breaking down of rocks into smaller particles does not involve of any chemical reaction. Mechanical weathering happens over time with the constant exposure to forces such as wind, water, cold, and heat that can take its toll on the rocks. The way I understand it is this is a constant process in nature because nature is always active. Even when we don't think anything's going on, it is. This activity can be slow to where you can't detect it or fast to where you can. Just know that it's happening. An example will be our San Antonio temperature changing from high to low, or in our case, very high to low. This change can expand and weaken a rock structure that may cause it to break down. Now add rain to the picture, and this makes things worse. The picture provided is a good example. The rocks are starting to chip away and crack. The next type of weathering is biological weathering. Biological weathering is the weakening and disintegration of rocks by plants, animals, and microbes. We all know that as long as there is water, a plant has a chance to grow. Roots from plants and trees can biologically weather rocks as seen in these pictures. The picture on my left shows the tree growing through the middle of the rock, while the picture on my right shows the growth coming out from the top. I can assume that precipitation from rain or the lake got into a crack or fracture into the rock that eventually led the rock to breaking down, allowing the roots to continue to grow. Actually, the picture on my right also shows some chemical weathering from carbon dioxide that dissolves after rain falls as well. Also, different types of animals can contribute to biological weathering. Animals that create holes on the ground by digging and moving rock fragments to the surface. I took this picture because seconds earlier, there was what looked like a rat running into a hole between what looks like a rock stacked on top of a rock. These types of rock formations could come from the digging of animals and rodents causing the rocks to move or break down. Then I cannot forget about the ducks. Although they don't dig or burrow into the ground, they can contribute to weathering by walking or laying on the rocks, which could disturb or cause shift over time. Next, I will discuss erosion. Unlike weathering erosion requires movement, erosion is wearing away of the Earth's surface by actions of natural forces, such as water, wind, and ice. Loose and dispersed materials move from one location to another. As discussed earlier, weathering breaks down the rock, but erosion moves the broken particles. Water and wind are two causes we deal with most in San Antonio, so I'll go over those in order. First is water erosion. Water erosion is the removal of soil by water rather it be rainfall. Water formation, overflow, waves, or thawing from ice. These water movements transport the eroded materials away from the point of removal. Rainfalls can erode soils, and causes activities such as sedimentation and sheet erosion to run off. The second picture fits the description of the sheet and runoff examples. Sheet beginning with heavy rainfall or bare soil. The water flows as a sheet down a slope, detaching soil particles in a uniform way. While runoff, being the excess water from the heavy rainfall, flows as the surface runoff back into the lake. Finally, I will touch on wind erosion. Wind erosion is a natural process where soil is moved, carried, and transported by force of the wind from one place to another. There are several factors that goes into this movement, such as how fast is wind blowing or wind speed, size and weight of the soil particles. The erosion takes place when these loose particles come in contact with the ground and rocks, causing other particles to come loose and fly away as well. Wind erosion is a common issue in South Texas. The picture provided shows a number of smaller particles that can be carried away to cause damage to other rocks or structures that this could have been and cause of rock damage too. So today in my geography backyard report, I discussed weathering, where large rocks are dissolved or worn away into smaller pieces; mechanical weathering, which is the breaking down of rocks into smaller particles but happens over time through natural forces; biological weathering, which is the weakening and disintegration of rocks by plants, animals, and microbes; erosion, and how it's the wearing away of Earth's surface by action of natural forces such as water, wind, and ice; water erosion, the removal of soil by water, whether it be rainfall, water formation, overflowways, or thawing from ice; and finally, wind erosion, which is a natural process where soil is moved and carried and transported by the force of wind from one place to another. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you and have a nice day.